If you've been photographing on overcast days or generally in lower light situations, you may find that your photos often come out looking dull and a bit flat. So in this video, I want to show you how you can put that contrast back into your photos while still keeping them natural looking. Let's get started. Okay, right, so now we have our photo loaded into Lightroom. Let's go over the issues that we would generally have with these more dull photos. So there's a couple of issues that we have initially. Obviously, the overall photo is lacking contrast, but the other issue with our photograph, obviously as it was taken in quite a dark area, is that there's a lot of noise still in our photograph. So in order to start dealing with this, we're going to want to make sure that our raw file is prepared correctly. So we're going to start by coming down into lens corrections, which can be found in this right-hand panel. Scrolling down, you'll see these two check boxes. We want to make sure these both been selected, and we want to make sure that the lens profile is correct. Now, if for any reason the lens profile is wrong, it's just a question of going into these drop-down boxes and selecting the lens that you've actually used. Now, the other option that you could do is you can use some third-party software, which is going to help you selecting the correct lens profile, increasing the amount of sharpness, and generally denoising your image. The best one I've been using recently has been DxO Pure Raw 6, which I've used to process this image, and it's ended up giving me a result which looks like this. So you'll see immediately from zooming into our image that it's removed a lot of that noise, and our image is generally looking a lot sharper. So from here, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to fix our composition. In order to do this, we're going to want to crop our image. So we're going to do this by coming up to the crop tool on the right-hand side. Clicking on this gives us this overlay. Now, in order to crop our photo, we just come up to the edge of these boxes and drag it down to our desired composition. Now, also, if our horizons are a little bit wonky, as I say, it probably is in this case, is we can also change the angle of our photo. So let's do that slightly here. Maybe it's me being a little bit OCD. But if I go just a tad like this, that looks far better to me. Now, closing this window by pressing back on the basics adjustment panel will crop our photo. So this has a much more pleasing composition now. What we're going to want to do now is we're going to want to try and increase the brightness of our photo and bring back some of that contrast. We're going to start off by increasing our exposure. So in this case, I'm going to increase it by a full stop, which brightens up our photo quite dramatically. Now, if we push our exposure too high up, then we will actually lose some of the detail from our photo. And this is shown in the histogram in the top right-hand corner. Now, you'll see that this little triangle now, if we hover over here, it will show the areas of our photo which has now been clipped. Alternatively, if you don't want to push your mouse all the way up to the other end of the screen, then the keyboard shortcut that you could use here is just pressing the letter J, and that'll toggle that on and off. So obviously we don't want to do that in this case, so we're going to bring our exposure back down to 1, and that looks far better. We're going to increase our contrast as well. We don't want to do this by too much, because what this is doing is increasing our contrast globally. So we're going to just use 20 at the moment, and we're going to more finely tune our contrast using the next 4 sliders. Now, these next 4 sliders are going to look at the different tonal ranges in our photo. We're going to start off by increasing our highlights and our whites, just to make our overall photo a little bit punchier and really bring out the whites in our fox. I also want to raise our shadows just so you can see a little bit more detail within our fox. However, in doing so as well, it often looks like it washes out our photo just a little bit. So to compensate, I'm going to bring down our blacks just slightly. Quite a nice starting point. Obviously, you can play around these sliders just a little bit more as well if you want to fine tune these results. But there's also plenty of other ways that we can increase the contrast with our photo. One of which is looking at the next few sliders, which is clarity and dehaze. What I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to start off by reducing the clarity of our photo. Now, the reason for this is I generally, in my wildlife photography, is I like to end up with a nice dreamy looking photo. And I can often find that sometimes lenses can be a little bit too sharp and a little bit too clinical. So just bringing a little bit of that clarity out makes it look a little bit softer and a little bit more dreamy. In terms of dehazing, I will dehaze my photo just a little bit as well. And you'll see this has given a bit more definition to the colors within our photo. We also have our vibrance and saturation sliders here. These are another 2 where we have to be a little bit careful with, as obviously both of them are going to be dealing with our colors globally. So I find that they're a good place to start in terms of just understanding how our photo is going to end up looking. But ultimately, I want to fine tune the colors with our photo using our other sliders. So for now, I'm going to set them at a nice low value of about 9. So now we can come on to the better way of looking at colours, and that's using the hue, saturation and luminance. This can be found in the color mixer. Now in our photo, there's a nice distinction between our greens, our reds and our blues. In terms of the colors within this photo, I don't want to mess around with the reds too much because I find that it looks a little bit unnatural if I'm altering the hues too much of my subject. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to darken the greens around our subject to make the reds pop out a little bit more. So how we're going to do this is we're going to bring down the luminance of our greens, and this will overall increase the amount of contrast between our reds and our greens, which looks quite nice. We can bring up the luminance of our oranges as well, just to make our fox pop out a little bit. And obviously there's bits of red in there as well, which looks quite nice. So now we have a bright looking image, which is great, but I don't feel that it's fully representative of the moody evening that this photo had. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit more contrast into our photo, and we're going to do that through the masking. Now this can be found up in the top right hand corner, so selecting this, we're going to start by looking at our subject. So if we select our subject mask, we're going to make that subject pop out a little bit more. So Lightroom has now selected our subject. As you can see, it's highlighted perfectly, which is really good. It's generally getting better and better and better at selecting subjects. It's rather impressive. And in order to make it pop out, I'm going to raise the exposure slightly. I'm not going to do it by too much because I don't want to clip our highlights. Again, if we press J, we can see there's nothing really being clipped on our subject, which is great. Do I want to increase the contrast? Yes, I do, just a little bit. I can push up the highlights a bit and our shadows a bit. And you'll see in this, I'm just being a little bit more subtle than before. I'm actually going to bring the shadows down a little bit, just to increase a little bit of mood. I think that's about right. So we've got a bit more contrast going on into our fox as it stands, but our background is looking a little bit flat. So let's do something about this. So we can do this by adding a few different masks. We're going to start off with a radial gradient, and we're going to move this into the top right hand corner up here, and we're going to create a light source. So let's move this just down like this. And we are going to increase our exposure. We're actually going to go slightly more than we did previously, maybe just over half a stop. I'm going to lower the contrast slightly as I ultimately want this to look almost like a lens flare. We can increase our highlights. So now if we click J, you'll see that we have now actually clipped our highlights. The reason why I'm happy clipping my highlights at this point, as we've seen from the previous edit, that there wasn't really much detail that we were reclaiming from the background. So ultimately, whether it's pure white or slightly white, it's not going to make too much of a difference to me. But hopefully these are good principles and tools that you can use and apply to your images. Let's now do the complete opposite. We are going to go up into our mask tools, and we're going to click on linear gradients, and we're going to go into the complete opposite corner, and we're going to create a linear gradient from here. That looks about right to me. And we're going to do the opposite, and we're going to reduce our exposure. In doing so, what we're doing is we're creating contrast from the very bright right hand corner and top right hand corner through to the bottom left hand corner. So we're getting contrast up and down as well as left and right in our photo. Now, this corner here is looking a little bit too bright, as well as this corner up here is just looking a little bit boring. So we're going to add a couple more masks. So let's add a radial mask. So clicking from the bottom down here, and that looks okay. So let's bring that exposure down. Now, the reason why I like to use a linear mask at an angle and a radial mask on the other side is it makes a bit less uniform of a color change rather than using just one linear mask from the bottom to the top. I feel like it looks overall a little bit more natural. And we're going to select one final mask up here, and that's going to be another radial mask into this corner. Boom. And we can also select a background mask just to separate our subject a little bit more. And I'm going to pull down the exposure on our fox just a tiny bit, just so it's still popping out from our background, but it's not so much that it's very, very obvious. What you could also do is you could add another mask. You could go with a radial gradient into the center. And if we go onto here and we remove from this mask just our subject, What this is effectively going to do is it's going to create a glow from behind our subject, just allowing it to pop out a little bit more. So let's move that up onto here. That's looking good to me now in terms of the contrast that we're going to achieve from masking. So another mask that we could add is we could zoom in onto the eyes, and if we brush around just the eyes, we can make these pop just a little bit more as well, and increasing the exposure ever so slightly. It's important with this one not to go too far up, as it will generally look a little bit unnatural, but we can increase our shadows and increase our exposure. So you'll see just from here the before and the after. Now obviously this has quite a lot of masks going on here, so just to summarize the mask that we've put in place, we have used a mask to overall brighten up our subject. We've also used a mask to our background to separate our subject from the background by dropping that overall exposure. We then have a mask on each one of our 4 corners to increase the amount of contrast going through our photo, both from top to bottom and left to right. In order to do this, we have one radial mask, which is increasing our exposure. We have a linear mask and 2 radial masks, which are decreasing our exposure. And we have one final mask from behind our subject, which was made by creating a radial mask and then removing our subject, then increasing this exposure just to make our subject pop out a little bit more from the background. That's quite a lot of masks. So one final thing I'd like to do now is to color grade our photo. So what we're going to do now is we're going to come into our color grading panel, which can be found here. The initial view looks like this, but I find it's much easier to work with if we look at each individual element. So we're going to start off by pressing this button here, which will throw up our shadows. Generally, if we're looking for natural looking images, we're going to want our shadows being a little bit cooler. So let's bring that down here. A big tip here is once you have your color selected is to press on this little triangle here, which is going to throw this drop down menu, and you can more easily control the saturation. As if you're doing it from here, it is quite easy just to slip and you end up getting a green fox, and that looks rather silly. You can also control the hue a little bit more easily using these sliders as well. So let's create a nice moody photo by adding a little bit of blue into our shadows. You can also control the luminance of our shadows as well, so we can bring that down should we want to. And we're going to bring that down ever so slightly just to make the moody blue tones in our photo. We're going to now look into the opposite side and go into our highlights. And again, we're going to add a little bit of hue. And in this case, we want a nice warm hue and increase our saturation into our photo. And you'll see the areas of our photo where it's being applied if you increase your saturation a lot. You could also, if you wanted to, have a completely moody photo by bringing that down into the blues if you wanted to. But in this case, I like the split toning effect that you get from having the highlights being warmer. I can increase the luminance if I want to, which I think I might in this case. And that looks good to me. So I really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to hit the like button down below. And finally, thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.